What is up, everybody? Let me get this graphic out of the way. Welcome to the channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I am very excited because I've been doing these monthly prediction shows for all of the major pay-per-views, and I've had some pretty awesome guests on here in the past. And I have a guest today that I cannot wait to bring on because this is the first time that we are doing a one-on-one show. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome F4W Online's very own Bryan Alvarez. What's up, Bryan?
Hello. Is this really the first time we've done this one-on-one?
Yes, because when I was on the Twitch show on Wrestling Observer Live, it was myself, you, and Mike. And then the other shows that we've done, there's always been somebody else. So this is our first official one-on-one show.
Excellent.
Awesome. So first of all, thank you so much for doing this with me. Well, I know that you're on vacation, so I appreciate it.
Vacation. I go to different places to do work. That's what I do.
I think that's the perks too of being able to do this job. You can pretty much do it from wherever or anywhere.
In theory, yes, but I always run into some internet issue or whatever. But in general, yes, I can largely do it from pretty much anywhere.
Awesome. All right, guys. So before we get into our AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door predictions, I do want to let you guys know that you can take part in the chat. This is a very interactive show. So if you guys want to send in your thoughts, send in your comments, you are more than welcome to. In order to take part in the chat, you do have to be a subscriber. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button. On top of that, if you want to make sure your question, your comment, or your statement gets read on the stream, 100% guaranteed, you can go ahead and send in a super chat and your question, comment, or statement will be read for sure. But let's go ahead and get right into this. So Bryan, before we run down each and every single match here today, because we do got 10 matches to talk about, I want to start off by asking you kind of a broad question, but what was your reaction to the announcement of this joint show between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling? And from that point on, what do you think the build heading into this pay-per-view has been like?
Well, I mean, I was pretty excited when they announced it, and I was immediately told to temper expectations as far as like the card, because there's always going to be politics involved, and we found out about people that can't work the show, like Penta and Phoenix, and now Andrade. But we were talking about it on Observer Live today. And everyone's talking about politics, and there's really only one match that was changed as a result of politics. And that's the Andrade match. When Andrade ended up being pulled from the show, he said he was supposed to be facing Will Ospreay. And I presume that's true. But, as far as like Penta and Phoenix, I mean, they've known forever that they weren't going to be able to be on the show. So I suppose it's possible that they thought that Andrade would be fine, and then they found out he wouldn't. But that's the only match that has been changed because of politics. Really, if you don't like the booking of this show, if you don't like the matches and the way the Dynamite and Rampage have put everything together, that's not politics. And that's not even, really Tony Khan. What it is so many guys have gotten hurt. And so if you look at, I don't know exactly what the original card is. We know some of the matches, obviously, but I was going through the card, and I don't remember exactly, but I think of the 10 matches, about 7 of them have changed as a result of people getting hurt. So, if you don't like the show, if you don't like the card, I mean, you're welcome to not like it. If you don't like the matches that are put together, you don't have to buy the show. But a lot of this was never the way that it was intended to be. When they put this card together, the card they put together was vastly different than the card that we're going to be getting on Sunday. I still think it's going to be a great show, but it's very different from what it was originally going to be.
And that's, it sucks because obviously it's not like you can do anything when it comes to like injuries. If these injuries happen, well, it's wrestling, right? It's bound to happen at some point. It's just unfortunate that all of these, like, especially for guys like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, these big name guys that because of these injuries, they can't take part, or, whatever's going on with them, they can't take part in this show. So it does suck that, all of this happened. And there was some criticism online from fans in regards to the card, in regards to the belt, maybe because there aren't enough have dream matches, etc. But I do think that last night we got, I think it was like 4 additional matches that were announced. So the card definitely got expanded a little bit more in regards to AEW and those changes, like you said, those 7 matches that, drastically changed, etc. Do you think AEW has done a good job with the replacements that they've done, the match changes that they have done in order to make this show feel, extra special?
I think it depends on, how long they've had to make the change. So, for example, like Moxley Tanahashi, that thing, they started putting that together weeks ago. And so because they had more lead time, I think that I am thrilled that we're going to get to see Jon Moxley, Hiroshi Tanahashi for the interim AEW title. I would have liked to have seen, the original match, but I'm perfectly content with this one. But, other matches where, it was young, let's see, I have to get the card right here. Whatever they announced last night for the Young Bucks, I mean, if you think about the history of AEW, the Young Bucks place in that history, and the fact that this is the first ever Forbidden Door show, and they're in a random 8-man tag, and so random that when Darby was running it down last night, like even he, it was like he'd been told right before the match started what this match was going to be. So you probably could have found it faster than me. But regardless.
Let me put this up. Oh, yeah. So it's the Bullet Club versus Dudes with Attitudes. That's the match that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. Young Bucks, Phantasmo, and Hikuleo against Sting, Darby, Shingo, and Hiromu. No video for Shingo. No video for Hiromu. No video for Hikuleo. No video for Phantasmo. It was just like all of these names at 10 minutes before 20 minutes before the show went off the air. Darby's spouting out these names, and then boom, we go to Excalibur, who, they need to get Bryan Danielson reading all the matches because he can read 400 words a minute. But anyway, he rattles off all of these matches, and it was like, wow. And I think, I don't know this 100%, but I'm pretty confident. I think that Kyle was also supposed to be in this match, and I think he got medically disqualified yesterday. So, they had no time to put together whatever this match ended up being. So, no, that was a huge disappointment. I think it's going to be a good match, but it just came out of nowhere. If you're a casual viewer, you have no idea who is in this match because they had 12 hours to put this one together, most likely. So, yeah, certain matches, they've done a better job fixing it up than others. And I think it's largely a result of when they found out matches were going to have to be changed and how much time they had to change them.
Exactly. I completely agree with you on all of that. So let's go ahead and talk about these matches because like you said, there are some that kind of feel a little bit random and then some that you're like, okay, you know what? I can see this working out and being a good solid match and whatnot. So let's go ahead and kick things off. We got the Buyin match here and this is
also
Max
got
Caster.
leaf blowers, so I apologize for that.
Oh no, you're okay.
Too loud, I can shut this window.
No, that's okay. I don't want you to be super hot or something in there. So you're totally fine. Let's go ahead and kick things off with this Buyin match. We got Max Caster and the Gun Club versus members of the New Japan Dojo. Bryan, kicking things off with this Buyin match. What do you think in terms of this one being announced?
I watched a lot of New Japan Strong, so I like the match because I like everybody on the New Japan Strong team. And I think that, if you...
oh yeah, now we can hear them. Now we can hear the leaf blower. At first, we weren't really hearing it too much, and now I can definitely hear it. BTW, while Bryan closes his window, guys, for those of you in here, once again, if you want to get your question, comment, or statement read, send in a super chat. It was funny because I didn't hear it at first, and now I can totally hear it.
Christmas. Yeah, Yuya Uemura is awesome. He's gonna main event the Dome within 5 years. Alex Coughlin has got the strongman gimmick, which is gonna get over huge. Kevin Knight, actually Buddy Wayne trainee from around here, and the DKC. Max Caster and the Gun Club. The gimmick is super over. So I think it's gonna be. I don't know if it'll be a great match, but I think it's gonna be a good match. And I think you're gonna see a lot of cool things. So it doesn't matter which side wins. I think if whatever happens as far as like what side wins the matches on the main show will probably determine who wins this match. It doesn't matter, but I think it's going to be good.
I think so too. And I think for me, I feel like it's definitely going to be like Max Caster and the Gun Club taking the win for this one here. I don't know why. That's just the direction that I'm heading towards. But let's go ahead and jump into the next match. You kind of already shared a little bit of your thoughts here, but obviously this was the Bullet Club versus the Dudes with Attitudes. So in regards to, I know, like you said, this was a very random pairing and whatnot. In regards to who you actually think is going to win, do you think it's a shoo-in for either side to get the victory here?
I do not think it is a shoo-in, but the Young Bucks are the tag team champions, and I think everybody is aware that prior to Jeff Hardy being, pulled over and arrested for his DUI, and then actually before that, the physical shape of Jeff Hardy at Double or Nothing, they were going to win the tag team titles. So they didn't, and I don't think it is out of the realm of possibility that Darby or Sting pins one of the Young Bucks. And we have the Young Bucks versus Darby and Sting. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Sting and Darby win the tag team titles and have a short run to do whatever they were going to do with the Hardys. Because the Hardys were never going to go in there and have blow-away matches with everybody. And Darby's great. Sting's 63 years old, I believe. So they may have had a storyline where, we're going to have one feel-good run for the Hardys that's going to lead to something. I think they could do that with Sting and Darby, and this would be a way to set it up by having one of them pin the Bucks.
And I love the idea too, because it's not, like if you're going to do Sting and Darby, especially because like they're so cool, Sting's an icon, Sting's a legend, and Darby is a fan favorite. And even like with new viewers that like watch AEW for the first time, they tend to like gravitate towards Darby Allin. So I feel like if you're going to have them as a tag team, then, right around this time period, or especially as champions, right around this time period would probably be the best time to execute that. So I think this is good, like you said, random pairing, but I do kind of want to see, them kind of get the win there too, with, Sting and Darby and Shingo and Hiromu. And I'm so glad that they added Hiromu to this as well, because I think he's somebody that I'm like, okay, I want to see how he mixes it in with these guys. I think this is going to be a fast-paced match, a fun one. So I'm really looking forward to this one here.
Well, dude, I watched, I know some people had a different opinion, but I saw that Young Bucks match with the Hardys and Jeff Hardy not even knowing where he was at. And I thought that match was great. And you've got Hiromu, you've got all of these great workers in this match, and and also Hikuleo, who has improved. But the point is,
I feel bad, but I haven't been impressed with Hikuleo, and I've seen him both now in New Japan Strong and in AEW, and I feel bad, but all the matches that I've seen of his, I haven't seen anything that I'm like, oh, well, let me cheer for this guy. I feel bad saying that.
Yeah, he would be, I believe, the weakest link in this match, but he has improved a lot. So in an 8-man tag, you have him do his best spots. I think this match is going to surprise a lot of people. I think it's going to be a great match.
I think so too. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next match here that we're going to go ahead and talk about. I think you can kind of say this one's somewhat a little random too, but we got Chris Jericho teaming up with Minoru Suzuki and Sammy Guevara to take on Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. So I want to get your thoughts on the build for this, the little build that we've had, mainly more so with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. But what are your thoughts on this one here?
It's another one I think is going to be a fun match. It is weird because they've teamed Minoru Suzuki with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, of course, the Jericho Appreciation Society, the sports entertainers. And let me tell you, who's not a sports entertainer is Minoru Suzuki. But he's on that team. And I think it's going to be a good match. And I also think that this is another one where, there's certain matches for political reasons that I think it matters who's going to win. And I don't think this is one of them. I think that either team could win. I think obviously there's things that you could do to set up future matches. Eddie pinning Chris Jericho pinning Eddie. We're going to Blood and Guts. So I feel they'll probably be involved in the finish to set up whatever's going to happen on Wednesday. But I mean, you could do anything here. You could beat Shota Umino. You could whatever. I don't think this matters, but I think that given the level of talent in this match, I also expect it to be a very good match. That's the thing. Whatever you think about the card, and I've had people go, "Oh, I canceled my order," which I never believe, by the way. But go ahead and cancel your order if you want to. But I expect that when the night is over, like the people that buy this show are going to be very, very happy with what they get bell to bell throughout the night.
I think so too. And I had people that were asking me like, "Oh, do you think this pay-per-view is worth buying?" And there's a couple of matches that I'm like, "Yeah, I think given these like certain matches, I think it is worth buying the pay-per-view." But I did have a couple of people asking me about that too. And I also like your idea, about, continuing to further some of these stories here. And, I would even like to see like something with like Sammy Guevara and Wheeler Yuta, as, a sub program here. I think that would be pretty awesome. So like you said, I think there's a lot of cool options. I think in terms of who I'm going for in terms of actual predictions, I'm probably going with Eddie Kingston's team just for the fact that I feel like they've kind of, I feel like their win would kind of mean a little something more to me than if it was Jericho and Suzuki and Sammy.
I probably should be making actual picks, right, here on this prediction show.
If you want, like, yeah,
Is
like,
that important?
it's like a prediction / preview show. So I usually like to hound my guests and make sure they actually give a prediction. But if not, like, if you don't want to give a prediction,
okay, listen,
I'll take a preview.
Say Sting's team wins, and then I will predict that Eddie Kingston's team wins.
So we're on board with that one. We're on board.
I think so. But I'd have to really think about that one because anyway.
All right.
I'll put my reputation out on that prediction.
When I did this show with Lance, it got very competitive to the point where that day we were tweeting at each other. Ha, I was right on this one. Ha, I was right on that one.
I don't think you'll get those tweets from me.
I'm moving on to the next match that we got here. This is one that I think is going to be a freaking knockout of a match. I think it's going to be very good. We got the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship and the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships on the line. We got the United Empire, Jeff Cobb and Great Khan versus FTR versus Roppongi Vice. First and foremost, do you think that the answer for who might be winning this match is a little bit obvious given that it's a winner take all, or are you expecting a surprise here, Bryan?
I expect FTR to win, but I expect FTR to win this match. Let's just put it that way. And people are gonna get mad, but everyone in this match is great with the exception of the Great Khan. But what the Great Khan is great at is being the Great Khan. And what that means is he is going to do some spots that I think are going to get super over. And because there are 6 people involved in this match, 5 of them can just have a blow-away match and get him in there to do what he does best. And one of the things he actually does best is just straight amateur wrestling. So if he does a little bit of straight amateur wrestling in the beginning, then everybody else does all the work. And then Great Khan does his Mongolian chops and his nuttiness. I think this is another one. I think this is going to be a great match. Roppongi Vice is a great team. FTR is a great team. Jeff Cobb is awesome. I mean, this is another one. I predict FTR, but, my larger prediction is, again, I think this is going to be a very, very good match.
I would be shocked if FTR doesn't win this match. I feel this one, to me, it feels like an obvious outcome. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I just feel like right now, FTR is on the roll of their life. So I feel like keeping that going, and they just kind of seem like the stronger team out of the 3 for me here. So I feel like it definitely has to be FTR here. And
well, there's two things. So when we talk about Moxley and Tanahashi, and I guess we could also talk about the IWGP World Heavyweight title. But you got to think about the politics of all of this. Like, if AEW is winning a New Japan title, then New Japan should be winning an AEW title. So if you look at the show, and in your predictions, you don't predict anybody from New Japan winning an AEW title.
I don't think I do. No.
Then it is possible that FTR loses this match, and then they go to Japan and they win everything on a New Japan show. So that would be your trade-off. I don't know if that's going to happen, but, I'm sure FTR, I'm sure that, it's a dream to win the IWGP tag team titles. It's not the dream to necessarily win it on this show. If they lose, if Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb win the ROH tag team titles here on this show, and then maybe the G1 finals, FTR goes to Japan, they win the IWGP heavyweight tag team titles and the Ring of Honor tag team titles on a New Japan show, that's fine. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they're winning here. I do think they will win the titles. I don't think it needs to be on this show.
But then if it does happen on this show, don't you think it would kind of feel like a big deal? Because it's like, okay, like at the Forbidden Doors show where we had the joint companies doing this show, then having FTR win here is like, oh, like, that's something that's going to be like newsy and whatnot and getting some buzz and some traction, etc.
Yeah, I mean, there absolutely should be a title change on this show. I just don't know which one it's going to be. And I'm not at all opposed to the idea of Tanahashi beating Moxley, as we'll get to. But, yesterday Dave talked about maybe Jay White winning the IWGP title. And, if Jay White wins, or I'm not Jay White, I'm sorry, Hangman wins the IWGP title. I mean, if Hangman wins the IWGP title, then FTR winning the tag titles, that's 2 AEW teams winning IWGP titles. So if that's the case, like if Hangman's going to win the IWGP title, then FTR probably isn't going to win. It would be, them losing. There's a lot of different ways you can go here politically. So we'll see. A lot depends on all the other matches, but I will predict officially that FTR wins.
I love it because you were like, okay, this is probably why it's not going to happen, but my prediction is FTR.
Well, there's a possibility it might not happen, but I am going to go with FTR.
And we got a super chat here from Sheldon Jackson. Thank you so much to Sheldon, who says, I think whoever wins Sunday between Kingston and Jericho loses at Blood and Guts. Thoughts on this, Bryan?
I mean, that's traditional. That's traditional pro wrestling booking, not necessarily traditional AEW booking. But, when I made my prediction, it was I'm making the assumption the other team is going to win at Blood and Guts. So I'm falling into the same trap of presuming that's the way they're going to do their booking. And the more I think about it, why am I predicting FTR here?
I feel it's going to be FTR. Like my gut instinct says FTR. So that's usually how I kind of go about things. I'm like, okay, if this is like what I'm following, I feel like for the most part, you're watching every week, you're feeling the vibe. I feel like you feel some direction. And for me in this specific match, I'm like, it's got to be FTR.
I didn't put enough thought in all of the winners and losers. I'm going to go back to that one later when I make the rest of my predictions.
Awesome. All right, let's get into the next match here. This next one here is for the AEW Women's World Championship, and it is Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. Bryan, I kind of feel like we're going to get a title change here. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Oh, I can't wait to text you on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it this way. I think that Toni Storm should win the title.
I disagree with that. I disagree. What? I disagree. I don't think Toni Storm should win the title.
Toni Storm should win the title?
Here's the thing.
But
here's my thing. Yes. And this is why I don't think she should win the title just yet, because we waited so long for Thunder Rosa to become champion that I kind of feel like a little bit cheated if she were to lose the title right now, because, the reign hasn't been like anything too hot. And that kind of bums me out. Like I would want something a little bit more there. So that's the only reason. But I wouldn't be upset if Toni Storm won, because I realize that she's the new kid on the block. She's here. She's a star, etc. I'm a fan of Toni Storm's, but I have a feeling we're going to see a title change, but I would be bummed for Thunder Rosa to lose the title as well.
You just did exactly what I did a second ago. You gave every reason why there's not going to be a title change, and then you predicted a title change.
Yeah.
I'm predicting there will not be a title change, and Thunder Rosa is going to retain the title.
I would like that, but I still think Toni Storm is going to win. I would like if Thunder Rosa retained the title, because her getting a victory over Toni Storm, I think would be huge. I think she needs it for her championship reign.
Well, I'll be texting you then to talk about how I was right. By the way, I'm going with my FTR prediction. I'm sticking to it. FTR's winning that match.
All right. Okay.
Mostly because I think the fans would be furious if they didn't win that match.
So now this is funny because I said things got competitive with Lance Storm and I think it just leveled up here today.
Well, yeah, when you gave every reason for there not being a title change, and then you predicted a title change.
Well, it's I'm torn here. I'm torn in this situation, Bryan. I'm a big fan of Thunder Rosa. I want to see her have a legitimate, but it has to be. It has to be. There has to be some portion as a viewer, as a fan, as I'm watching the show. I form connections with these people. So for me, I'm like, I would love to see Thunder Rosa defeat Toni Storm because I think it would be great. But I have a feeling they're just going to go with Toni Storm here. I think they think
never go with your gut, Denise. Don't you know anything about anything?
Alrighty. Okay, guys. Send in your thoughts. Who do you think is taking this one? Send in all your predictions. On top of that, if you want to get your question, comment, or statement read on the air, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. On top of that, before we go ahead and move on to our next match that we're going to go ahead and talk about, I do want to pull up the Forbidden Door Pick'em contest and let you guys know that Wrestle Rumble has officially opened this up over on their website at WrestleRumble.com. Head on over there, purchase an entry, and you essentially get to predict things that are going to happen on the show. And you can actually win some money for the Double or Nothing contest. One of my viewers entered. They won $1,000, like legit won $1,000. Now for the Forbidden Door Pick'em contest, they have prop questions. You answer the prop questions. The person that gets the most points ends up winning. Some of the prop questions that are going to be asked during this is, will Kenny Omega enter the ring at any point during Forbidden Door? Will the Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay match go over or under 17 minutes? Will any tables break during the Moxley versus Tanahashi match? It's simple questions like that you answer yes or no, give your predictions, and if you're right and you get enough points, you might come into some actual cold hard cash. The cutoff time to enter this this contest is on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, Sunday 8 p.m. at Eastern time, so right before the pay-per-view. And first place prize is $500. Now, I don't know about you, but I could definitely use $500. So make sure you guys head on over to WrestleRumble.com and enter the Forbidden Door Pick'em contest. Alrighty, awesome. We got a couple of super chats here to read. This one is from AEW Mark 2018, who says, if FTR wins, then Tanahashi wins the title. Wait for CM Punk.
Thoughts on this, Bryan? We'll talk about that right now.
All right, let's get into it.
I am very torn, but I must put my prediction in, correct?
So we're getting into this one right now. We're getting into Jon Moxley, Tanahashi.
Get that graphic up right now.
All right, here we go. The graphic is up. We're talking about it. Thoughts?
Well, Jon Moxley is awesome. And Jon Moxley is he is the Forbidden Door, as we've talked about. He is the one that kept this thing alive when everybody was telling him, stop going to New Japan. Why are you going to New Japan? He kept this whole thing alive. And if you know those fans go, you deserve it, they bow on that. If any man deserves to win this title on this show, it is Jon Moxley. If it were my company, if I were Tony Khan, which I'm not, nor am I paid by Tony Khan. If I were Tony Khan, I also would make Jon Moxley the champion. But I am predicting that Hiroshi Tanahashi is winning this title. Why, you ask? Well,
you just got mad at me because I did that with the Women's Championship.
No, this is different.
It feels the same.
No, let me continue. So, the original match was CM Punk and Hiroshi Tanahashi, right?
Right.
Okay. That match didn't take place. Tony books all sorts of things for a reason. Therefore, I believe that Tanahashi is going to win this title. And then he is going to go on. And they will do the CM Punk Hiroshi Tanahashi match that they were going to do originally. This time, instead of being for the AEW title, be for the AEW and the interim title. So I believe that Tony is just going to do what he planned to do. And because Punk is unavailable now, Tanahashi will win the title and hold it until Punk is available, and then they will do the match. Now, I'm sure everyone's saying, well, what about the G1? The whole point of an interim title is because your champion's got to be around. Well, I believe that Tanahashi is only scheduled for one Wednesday in the G1, which means, and it would be like quite the number of flights, but he could go back and forth during the G1 and appear somewhat regularly on AEW television as the champion. So I could look very foolish on Sunday, but I am predicting that Tanahashi wins the interim AEW title.
Now, question for you. How do you think the AEW fans would feel about that? Let's talk about the ones that maybe don't watch New Japan, that just watch AEW and feel that it should be an AEW guy. What do you think the reaction to that is?
Bro, it's Forbidden Door. You can't go in thinking only AEW guys can win. The whole point of the show is that these New Japan guys should win. This also, Tanahashi takes the AEW title, FTR takes the tag team titles. There's your 50-50 political split.
Okay, so you're going with Tanahashi here.
Yes, I'm going with Tanahashi.
Okay, now I gotta be honest with you. I'm torn on this one mainly because I can't see Tanahashi losing, but because we do have the interim AEW World Championship on the line, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Jon Moxley, but something tells me that Tony Khan may not want this to feel like a predictable match. So I have a feeling that it's also going to be Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Oh, man.
That's kind of where I'm heading towards. Will people like it or not? I have no idea. We do have a super chat here from Christopher Spires who says, I think AEW guy needs to win the title, not the New Japan guy.
Bro, it's Forbidden Door. It's New Japan versus AEW. I think that most fans want Moxley to win, but I think most fans want to see a title change. What's the point of Forbidden Door if you just do a bunch of matches and like nobody from one promotion wins another promotion's title? You have the opportunity here in 2 matches to switch titles, and then Punk can win the title back from Tanahashi, All Out, and then FTR goes to Japan. They can lose the titles whenever back. It doesn't matter, but or have them come here. There's a million ways you can go. You get FTR. Fans will be super happy if FTR wins those tag team titles. And I think a lot of fans would be very happy if they got to see Tanahashi become the AEW champion.
We have a super chat here from Yasser Awade who says, Bryan, you're the GOAT, brother. Awesome stuff here.
Thank you, Yasser.
And let's go ahead and get into this next match here. The next one that we are going to go ahead and talk about. This is for the AEW All Atlantic Championship. We got Malakai Black versus Pac versus Miro versus Tomohiro Ishii. So Bryan, here I feel like there are a lot of options for who can become the inaugural champion here for the All Atlantic Championship. Who's your pick?
Oh, man, I need a 4-sided coin. I mean, literally, I don't think it's going to be Ishii unless whatever they do, like they need a New Japan guy to win something. So it's Malakai, Pac, or Miro. And you can make an argument for every single one of them. House of Black is a hot act right now. So you could say Malakai should become the champion. Miro has been around for quite a while, and he could come back to win a big one here. Or, what I was talking about when this title was first announced with Dave, they call it the All Atlantic title, but this could be like Stardom's high speed title. It's always going to be held by somebody that does absolutely blow away spectacular stuff, facing other people that do all out spectacular blow away stuff. That's the case. Pac's a champion. And Pac faces your Dante Martins and your Phoenixes, and you trade the title amongst guys like that. So, he crosses the Atlantic. here and there. So I'm picking Pac.
Okay, I was gonna go for Pac too, but I was going for him more so just because I think out of like Miro, Black, and himself and Pac, I legitimately think that he kind of needs it the most. So that's why I was going with Pac along the lines. But if we had Malakai Black or Miro win, I do think again that you can make an argument for them to win as well. So here we go. Next match. We got Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP US Championship. Bryan, what were your thoughts in terms of Orange Cassidy being made the opponent for Will Ospreay?
I mean, I'm still mad at Orange for beating me for the internet title or whatever it was. But I was flabbergasted. And this is nothing against Orange Cassidy, but I was flabbergasted. And, Andrade claims that he was supposed to be the original opponent. And that match would have been absolutely fantastic. And the issue isn't even so much anything about Orange Cassidy other than, number one, he's been out for so long with an injury. He's had championship matches. But, of late, he's just, sort of been a guy. And so I was very surprised. I would be baffled if he beat Will Ospreay. I do think they're going to have a way better match than a lot of people are expecting. I think the match is going to be great, and I think Will Ospreay wins.
I completely agree. Will Ospreay for the win, and I'm actually really looking forward to this match because I think Orange Cassidy is going to have a good one with Will Ospreay, so I'm very much looking forward to that one. Next up, we got here Zack Sabre Jr. versus a mystery opponent. This was obviously supposed to be Bryan Danielson, but he made the announcement on Dynamite that he had found an opponent for Zack Sabre Jr. So, Bryan, who do you think is that mystery opponent?
Well, originally, obviously, this match was Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson. And I don't know who was going to win. I would bet that if you allowed Bryan Danielson to pick a winner, he would put over Zack Sabre Jr. I don't know what their original plan was. In old school pro wrestling booking, if you have and they never announced this match, so this kind of doesn't really count. But if people are expecting a certain match and one guy's out and you put a replacement in, the replacement usually wins. So people feel like I got my money's worth. Like it was a replacement, but he won. So the other thing is, let's say it's Cesaro, and it's Cesaro's debut, and B, after his debut, he's going right to Blood and Guts on Wednesday, a big time match. I don't beat Cesaro. So, but Zack Sabre Jr. is a very big star in New Japan. He's in the G1. He is probably going to potentially win his block in G1. So I don't know who's winning this match. I guess I have to pick the replacement, who I presume is Cesaro, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I have to pick him, but I mean, this is one where, if you pick Zack Sabre Jr. and you want to text me that day and gloat, like, I'm not going to be that.
I'm going to pick Zack Sabre Jr. then, just so I can glow afterwards.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It's a point. Like, there's a great argument for either guy. And, like, if it is Cesaro, the funny thing is, like, I just feel that Zack Sabre Jr. should win the match, but because it would be Cesaro's debut and he's going right, like, I don't feel like that's a good way to debut a guy, to beat him, and then he goes right. I don't know. I'm torn, but I will predict the replacement is Cesaro and that he wins.
We have a super chat here. This is from Cincinnati, who says, is there any update on CM Punk and will he appear at Forbidden Door? Bryan, do you have anything to add?
I mean, I don't think that he couldn't appear. I mean, I think it would be pretty cool if whoever wins the interim title, like you could do a deal where CM Punk comes out and presents the interim title to the winner and then lets him know, like, as soon as I'm back, I'm taking it. I mean, you could, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. He's absolutely not going to work, but I think that it would actually be pretty cool if he handed the belt to the winner and then let him know that they're next.
Agreed. And I kind of would like to see him, at least pop into the pay-per-view. All right. So I know we got a little bit left of time here. So we got the last match to talk about, the match I'm actually most looking forward to here. And this is for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. We got Jay White, Hangman Page, Okada, and Adam Cole. Thoughts on the announcement for this match, and especially it being a fatal four-way? And do you expect the title to change hands at all?
I don't think the title is going to change hands. I see Jay White retaining the title. It's possible that the whole reason they put the title on Jay White was so Okada could win it back at this show. So I don't rule that out. You could have like Hangman Page or Adam Cole win it, but neither of them are in the G1. And one of the things they always do in G1 is, the champion takes a loss or two to set up title matches down the road. So having a G1 without the champion in it, you could do anything you want. But I think that the G1 is going to be, you can book New Japan further towards the Tokyo Dome by having the champion in the G1. So I think it's either going to be Okada or Jay White. It depends on if you believe that Okada lost the title so that he could win it back here, which, I would bet that he doesn't win it back, because I feel if he were going to, they would have done a better job putting him into this match as opposed to waiting until the go-home show as a last minute. It feels like a last minute, like he was added. So I will predict Jay White retains the title.
That was my prediction heading into this as well, and I don't know who I'm expecting either Hangman Page or Adam Cole to get the pin here in this match, but I am expecting Jay White to actually retain his championship here. So Bryan, I know that you have to go. So if you want to go ahead and if you have to go, we can go, or if not, if you have an extra minute, I'll go ahead and read the last two super chats and we can go from there.
Hey, do the super chats.
Okay, this one is from
paid.
I know, want to make sure.
Me, way, but I'll still do it.
AEW Mark 2018 says TK said that the All Atlantic title is for other promotion fighters to come to AEW and fight for the belt. New Japan and other promotions. He said it today. Says AEW Mark 2018. And then we have another super chat from Jorge Sandoval, who says, I get someone say this on a different review, but the idea of Filthy facing Zack Sabre Jr. since Moxley initiated Filthy to Blackpool Combat Club and the Defy show, I still think it's Claudio. Thoughts on this, Bryan?
I would love to see Filthy Tom against Zack Sabre Jr. And in fact, I suggested that on our show. And the issue is he's actually in town, which is interesting. But I think he's booked somewhere else, I think the same day. So he would have to cancel out that booking, which I suppose is possible. But the only thing, I love Filthy, but the AEW audience, the way that Bryan Danielson built up Filthy not Filthy, the way he built up the opponent, if it were Filthy, I do think that people would be upset that it was not Claudio. So I think that it should be Claudio, because that seems to be who everybody is expecting. And he is a much bigger star than Filthy. And so, if Danielson hadn't done that promo, I'd be all in on Filthy being the opponent for Zack Sabre Jr. But the other thing that they on TV said that whoever this is the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club. So I think that would require Filthy to have signed an AEW contract. And we know he's under contract at New Japan because he's doing the G1. So I don't think it's going to be Filthy. Although, personally, I would love to see Filthy versus Zack Sabre Jr. in Forbidden Door.
Agreed. And thank you so much to George for also sending in this super chat. Alrighty, so that is a wrap for this show. Bryan, I want to thank you so much for coming on here today. I had a blast doing the show with you. Thank you so much. Before we go, please let the people know where they can follow you, where they can support, etc.
Well, everything is WrestlingObserver.com. Everything you need to know is up there. We do podcasts. I do 2 podcasts a day, sometimes 3. We've got 13,000 archived shows, every show I've done since 2005, so you can never listen to them all. That's all up there at WrestlingObserver.com, video.f4wonline.com. If you want to watch the shows on video, you can do that. My Twitter's at Bryan Alvarez, and my Cameo, F4W Online. And you can grab cameos from the lovely shores of the Pacific here, which is not the home of the All Atlantic title.
Awesome, Bryan. Thank you so much. For everybody watching, please do not forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and all of the links below to follow Bryan are in the description box below. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.